I have a lot of enemies, so there are always others.
I wouldn't be Veronica, dear, if I didn't have enemies.
That's not a good thing.
All right, haves and have not fans. Now, I just recorded a pretty lengthy video. I want to say it was less than 20 minutes about, why Candace didn't put up more of a fight, when Jim was holding her in the tub and she drowned to death, apparently. So I wanted to do a video about yet another underwhelming death of the episode, and that's the one for the Ice Queen, Veronica Harrington. And I know a lot of people, thankfully, I've been able to change a lot of people's minds, because I remember like a few hours after the finale into the next day on Wednesday, there were some people online that I was going back and forth with. They were like, it was Laura, what are you talking about? And yada, yada, yada. I did a video that's over 10,000 views. Thank you for that. Pretty much proving that it was not Laura who was shot by Akil and Marco. It was actually Veronica. Veronica had a stunt double in the episode. So that woman who walked out of the house, definitely, I told my mom as soon as, like, wait a minute, that woman has a different complexion. That's a stunt double. And she got gunned down. That was meant to be Veronica. So when I tell you, after I went back to the episode to clip it up and put together that like 30 or 20, yeah, it was like a very short clip, not even 45 seconds long, where I put together all the character deaths, like from Wyatt all the way to Jim at the end of the episode. And to think that the Ice Queen of all people got a death that was like 3 to 4 seconds, like gunned down, and then the two guys run off into the night. Veronica Harrington. I know that the show has a main cast. I know Veronica wasn't initially the fan favorite, but Veronica flippin' Harrington got taken out like that. Let's talk about it. But before we do, guys, please take a moment to hit like, please, because the videos, y'all have been knocking them out of the ballpark. The hundreds of likes each video gets means YouTube pushes them out more for people to see. The more views, the more comments you leave on the videos means more traffic to the channel, the more ad revenue. I said this in the Candace video with more detail, but let me just put it this way. With the amount of money I've been getting per day since since the finale came out, I could see myself possibly getting that house off a lot in cash, because you all have been blowing it up. So please continue to watch these videos, share them around. The more you engage, the more views that come in, the more ad revenue, the closer I get to that house, meaning I can do a lot more stuff. So that'll be great. So follow me on social media, links are in the description below. We're closing in on 200,000 subscribers, so help me reach that goal soon, and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out when I post content on the channel. Now, I get it. She's dead. So there's really no going back from that. Veronica's dead. And yes, to an extent, if they wanted to bring back the show and they said it was Laura, I would be pissed off, but I wouldn't be surprised because it's Tyler Perry. But we're not here to talk about that. For the sake of this video, it was Veronica Harrington, even though I already had the proof that it was. But I just feel like it was, not only was this finale, I feel like everybody has already spoken out about how the finale sucked. Hell, I even put a poll up on Twitter, and it was a resounding, I think I put up the question of were you satisfied with the series finale? Excuse my throat, it's dry, I've been talking too much. And obviously a lot of people were like, hell no. So here's the biggest one. Were you satisfied with the series finale tonight? And this is on YouTube Community tab. 2.5 thousand votes. 13% said yes. 87% said hell no. Guys, almost 3,000 people, and almost 90% of them were like, hell to the no. Hell no to the no, no, no. Hell to the no. I can see why. Like, don't get me wrong. I stand by what I said before, where that first half, like the first 20 minutes of the episode, it was enough. It was a good start to like a season finale. Like, you know, if this was just a run of the mill, oh, this is the end of a season before we move into the next one. Yeah, Wyatt died. Okay, whatever. He should have died long ago. Jim plotting revenge. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Benny being introduced to his son. Okay, this is good. We can kind of build it up, so maybe we'll see him change his ways, but we'll still have to deal with the Malone situation. And, you know, Diamond in jail to rough up Catherine. Okay, not necessarily kill her, but rough her up. But then when we got to that back half, when the body started dropping, that was the major issue. Now, here's the thing, though, and I got like a list of other videos to do over the next several days, but I'll get to those soon enough. It's the fact that I have no problem with characters dying. My issue is how it was done. And I'm not saying like, you know, oh, this character should have got blown up instead of this. But no. I mean, in terms of how rushed it felt, how you really couldn't even take in somebody's death because you moved on from one to another. I mean, and I'm not saying anything bad against Catherine's character, but I mean, for her death to be out, you know, to just outdo everybody's death. I mean, you made, and I've said this plenty of times in these videos, Candace was meant to be a footnote to the ultimate showdown between Jim and Hannah. But I also wanted to say in this video, you literally made Veronica's death a footnote to Catherine's. Like, Catherine had this intense strangling and she died. And then you're telling me right after that, Veronica gets gunned down in 4 seconds. Like, what the hell were fans supposed to take from that? Like, here I am reeling at what I just saw when Diamond strangled Catherine. But then when you get to Veronica, oh, I'm just going to stroll out of my house. She's dead. What the was that? We don't get... See, and not to mention, another thing that took away from these deaths were the fact that none of the other characters knew about it. So it's like you never got to see the weight. Like, for example, David and Jim. What about the puzzle pieces Veronica had? You know, Veronica's gunned down, but what about all the threats she had? That's why Veronica, I think, should have died way back. What was it? The season 5 finale of the Veronica show, when Melissa took the wheel and they went over the hill and, you know, left her in the car that was about to burn up. That would have been intense because Veronica would have been killed off. And trust and believe, I feel like Veronica being killed then would have done amazing things with the character. Angela just knocks the character out of the ballpark, anything Tyler gives her. Even when it's lackluster crap, you're still going to talk about the performance she gave. But the thing about it was, I feel like a lot of these characters should have died a long time ago, or at the very least have the death spread out, because it would have kept their character from being stale. Like, for example, would you rather look, and don't get me wrong, if you're a working person like in the industry, then get your paper. Who am I to judge? Like, how many movie franchises and TV shows have long gone past their expiration date, where the show was good for like the first 3 seasons, but then it stretches on for another 8, or a movie franchise goes on for like 3 new movies or a whole reboot? Get your money. But at the end of the day, when I'm looking at the quality of the character, Veronica has been so one note for years. And I know I've gotten flack for that, but I've had more people come over to my side. Not to mention, you know, from the homophobic rant she goes on to the revenge, not moving on from David, and pretty much just making, as Marco said, you have more enemies than you know about. So I think for me, you know, the Candace not fighting back, like I said, check out that video. I go into detail as to why she didn't put up much of a fight, and it actually made sense in context. With Veronica, it's like, we've seen her heed the warnings of people, even if she doesn't like them. And I definitely thought we were getting that after Marco told her about, you know, you have a lot of enemies, you need to pray to Mother Mary. It just felt like Veronica, who plans for everything. It's like, you know, how Batman can beat everyone because Batman with prep time thinks of every contingency plan. That's like Batman just... You know how dumb it would be for Batman to just get shot in the face by a random thug with a gun and die, even though more people should definitely try that because his like lower face isn't protected. Now imagine, you know, Batman, after all these years of being like this normal human who could take down gods, he can beat Superman, he has dark multiverse counterparts. Like the dark multiverse is awesome, even though I didn't like the second stretch of the Dark Knights where the Batman who laughs just became way too overpowered and stupid. But I'm talking about, like, you know, when the first, if you're a DC comic fan back in like 2016 or whatever, when the Dark Knights thing started, it was awesome. The Nightmare Batman was my favorite part. Well, basically what I'm saying is this character who can like plan for everything. He's 10 steps ahead of everybody else. He's like the smartest, the greatest detective around, yada yada yada. But then like a no-name thug just shoots him in the face and he dies. You know how bad that looks? That's basically the same thing that happened to Veronica Harrington. The woman who could stand up to the FBI when she's been arrested and tell them, I want to sue your asses. The woman who put the likes of Jim Cryer, David Harrington, so many other high-ranking political slash law enforcing citizens on their toes. You know, the fact that this woman wasn't afraid to stand up to thugs like Quincy and, you know, even like groups of gangs in the neighborhood and things of that nature. Candace Young, she's been put in her place a few times. This quote unquote bad bitch stole the crown from the OG bad bitch Candace Young. You know, Veronica did that. She's done so many things. She survived so many stunts. So to see her go out like this, I feel was like a massive slap to the face to Veronica fans. Even the fans like me who said she should have been killed off a long time ago, I feel like it was a slap to the face due to the fact that she went out like that. I mean, it's kind of ironic, you know, her and Benny were like on again, off again lovers, and they both got gunned down, so it's kind of appropriate. But to have Veronica just killed off like that, I felt was a disgrace to the character and the actress. I just feel like she deserves so much more. And like I said time and time again, most of these characters, I didn't want them to die so much as face justice for the crimes they committed. You know, like, I feel like Veronica, and I said this for years as well, a quick death is too good for Veronica. And I mean, for Veronica to, when your paid hitman or bodyguard Marco was a hitman because he was pretty much assigned with, you know, taking out the people. Basically, he was a hitman hired to eliminate the hitmen that were sent after Veronica. Basically, he was, you know, paid, and when the hitman that you just paid to take care of his job said, you know, I have some connections and I heard you have some more enemies. It's like, why would you then venture outside in the middle of the night of all times? What the hell, Veronica? I mean, like I said, for her to just die like that, I just felt like it was so damn dumb. Like, I get it. It's like, well, it was Laura. What if it was Laura there to just kind of test the waters? I can understand that. But from the stunt double confirmation to the freaking walk, somebody, I think it was Melrose or somebody who was like, look, she even has the gold chain and whatnot around her neck. Like, I was like, the red bottom heels were a giveaway. But like from the gold chain, the hair was the biggest one for me. It was just like, that was definitely meant to be Veronica. So to have her unceremoniously gunned down, it just didn't feel right because Marco and Akil, if it was one of the, I mean, well, Akil was hired by Jim. No, it doesn't have the same weight. Even though I didn't care for how Candace went out, and I feel like it should have been a bigger deal than it was, at least Jim Cryer was the one to kill her. Just like when Hannah ran down, Jim, I felt like there was more weight to it. Hell, even when the Malones killed Benny, even though it would have done more for Sandy as a character if he was the one to do it, but either way, the Malones killed Benny. There was a lot of sense made from that. But for one of Veronica's contingency plans to actually bite her in the ass like Justice League Tower of Babel, again, I'm making a lot of DC references. If you don't know, check out the animated movie Justice League Doom. I kind of get it. Well, it's like, well, Jeremy, you're talking about how Veronica always has these contingencies and this and that. So isn't it kind of ironic that one of her contingencies actually, you know, worked against her? And to that I say, you're actually right. But I do feel like the woman who has caused bombings, drive-by shootouts, explosions, burning down houses and shit, to just have her gunned down in a matter of seconds and then the assailants run off, it doesn't do it for me. Like I said, when Hannah called to have the papers to sign and have everything taken away from Veronica, I feel like seeing Veronica lose everything prior to dying would have been incredible. I feel like we could have seen I don't feel like there were enough times where Veronica was seen at her wit's end. Candace, we always saw the cycle. Oh, I'm going to get 6, 7, or 8 figures, then I want to lose it all, then I'm going to be back at my mama's house, and then I want to come up again. We've seen the struggle, even though it was an endless cycle of nothing. At least we saw Candace have ups and downs. With Veronica, it always felt like anytime it felt like somebody got the upper hand on her, typically Jeffrey, she would just, come back even stronger than before. With this, it's like I wanted to see everything ripped away from Veronica. I want to see Veronica on the run, something along those lines. But unfortunately, she was just gunned down in the middle of the night like a random target that she was. And the fact that she didn't heed the warnings of Marco, which it did seem like she would, because we spent a few seconds focused on her face prior to going to the next scene. So it's like, okay, what's Veronica cooking in her brain? And the biggest question everybody's asking is, where was Veronica going in the middle of the night? Because typically, if she had a plan, she would call over somebody, they would discuss the plan of action, and that's it. Hell, didn't Laura tell Samuel to be up in Veronica's room? Because when Veronica went up to the safe to get the money, I was like, okay, first of all, she might get a gun because Marco might, flip on her. Number 2, wasn't Samuel supposed to be there? I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't want to be like the show and talk around in circles. Trust and believe, I feel like I can go on for like another 30 minutes on this, but I want to kind of leave it up to you. How would you have written the Ice Queen's death to be? Like, who do you think should have been the killer? I mean, hell, remember when Quita said the hood, they plotting against you. I feel like even I forgot the dude's name, but it was like the main thug that Veronica hired to go over to David's house and shoot the place up. The one who seemed like they had sex. Didn't they have sex once? And Ron, like, get your little pencil penis out of here. It was just one of those things where even if him or one of his guys killed Veronica, it would have had more of a connection than just these random hitmen. It just felt like there was no weight to Veronica's death. I feel like my mom and I, we just looked like, what the hell was that? And to say that about Veronica Harrington of all people, I feel like it was a disgrace. So I'll tell you this much, Tyler, if you, no, you are working on more projects. I feel like, and I don't want to sound arrogant here, because I know you've done right by all these cast members. Even if I don't care for the writing and how things were handled, I feel like you've done right by these people. You've given them an amazing opportunity. Some of these people said, like, the haves and the have-nots kind of put them back on the map, or was like their first big gig, and they've gotten so many other jobs because of it. And you kept them on the show for almost a decade. But I feel, and again, and I'm not trying to sound disrespectful. Nobody's put me up to this. Don't point a finger at Angela. No. I feel like, if nothing else, you owe Angela a role in either a future movie or project, because the way you took her out, I feel, was disgraceful. I feel like the Ice Queen deserved far better than what happened to her. I feel like Angela needs to be in another maybe, hell, put her on the Oval. She doesn't have to be Veronica, but I feel like we all want her to be Veronica because of the fact that this was not good. This woman knew how to take down people with nothing more than her tongue. I don't mean that in a kinky way either. I'm talking about she would threaten, talk down, and just, I mean, what's the moral of the lesson here? Watch who you talk to and how you do it. I mean, Marco said she threatened to deport me. And I mean, you literally don't want to make enemies of the people who work for you, because they know a lot more about you than you think. So in a way, there was a lesson to her method of being killed off. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you want to make sure your people that work for you are loyal. So the fact that he was easily able to be a turncoat due to working with Akil, that just shows you that, look at how Veronica has talked down to people, not just Hannah the maid, but, employees of restaurants or the hotel staff or the hospital, basically treating everybody, quote unquote, underneath you like a piece of trash. Yet, what was this one quote I heard from somewhere? It's like, never piss off a nurse because they're the ones who convince a doctor not to kill you, or something along those lines. Basically, it's like, be careful how you treat people, because a person who's on your team today might be on the opposing side tomorrow because you worked them too hard, you know, or you treated them the wrong way. So I feel like, in a sense, there was something to take away from Veronica's death, but for the Ice Queen, this death felt more like a piece of gravel as opposed to an ice throne. You know, like, I feel like her death did not live up, pun intended, to the magnitude that she brought to the show. I felt like her death, I'm not saying that we need like 20 minutes of her struggling and then being killed off, but to have Catherine Cryer and even Candace, and hell, even Benny before he got gunned down, have a moment of interaction between them and the person who killed them off was a lot better than what the hell happened to Veronica. Don't get me started on David. I might do a video on that too, even though I still think there's a chance he survived. But Veronica deserved better. I feel like we all feel the same way. Like I said, I want to cut myself off here because I can go on for a long time. But either way, thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, get the conversation going in the comment section below. How would you want Veronica to die? And it's easy to say, have it be Laura so Veronica survives. I get it. But for the sake of this video, talk about how you would have written it to have Veronica killed off, or go to prison, go to jail. Yeah, I feel like that for me would be something else, to actually see her try to avoid the fate of, you know, being somebody's bottom bitch. You know, the fact that she has this thing against gay people, more or less her son being gay. So to actually have her in jail being what Diamond was going to make Catherine her bottom bitch, that would be intense. You have Veronica fighting in the courtrooms, but at the end of the day, the evidence is enough to put her away. You know, like Veronica tries every trick she has, but it doesn't work. And then to have her in a cell with the likes of a Diamond or somebody else, I feel like that's a fate worse than death. And this is after she's already lost her money and everything too. So to me, that would have been great. But to have her just pew pew. Wow. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. If you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App, or at the very least, just like and subscribe. Like I said earlier in the video, continue to blow these videos up so I can get this house, please. And I'll talk to you all soon.